Sometimes people say that they won't go vegan because they think them going vegan by themselves won't change anything. Or they say something like, the whole world's never gonna be vegan, so me being vegan is pointless. But is that really true? Well, today I'm gonna cover a bunch of different recent vegan growth statistics, why I think the future world will be vegan, and why you shouldn't wait until then, but instead you should hop on the vegan train right now. But first, let me welcome you to Vegan Yak. I'm Walter, and if you're looking for some information about veganism or tips on how to successfully go vegan and stay vegan, make sure you subscribe to the channel down below. I dare you. Do it! That way next week when a new video comes out and I'm yakking about something else vegan, you'll be the first to know. First things first, people say that going vegan themselves won't actually make an impact. And that's not actually true. Your personal impact that you can make from being vegan can be rather large. I actually recently hit my 3-year vegan mark. I looked up the statistics of what that estimated impact would be and I shared it to my Instagram, and here are the numbers. In 3 years of being vegan, it's estimated that I saved 1.2 million gallons of water, 43,000, almost 44,000 pounds of grain, nearly 33,000 square feet of forest, nearly 22,000 pounds of CO2, and over 1,000 animal lives. To me, that's a crazy amount of impact for one individual to make over a relatively short period of time. But even if that weren't true, even if that weren't the case, this would still be a really weird line of logic to continue to do something, especially if it's something that you yourself might consider is immoral. I mean, if I was a murderer or I paid people to murder for me like a hitman or an assassin, and you told me that I should stop, and I returned to you and said, well, just if I stop killing doesn't mean that the whole world of killing is going to stop. Not all murders are going to end. Would you really accept that as a good justification for me to continue murdering myself? But also, this isn't how things work. Large systematic change, whether good or bad, always starts with individuals changing and calling for change themselves. And as more individuals change, then it becomes a larger movement, and then it can cause a societal change. This is the same thing for ending slavery, women's suffrage, civil rights, etc. Any of those movements didn't just like wake up. We didn't all wake up one day in the world and go, you know, we're all of a sudden in agreement, women should vote. No, it was individuals that changed and called for change until it became the societal norm, until it actually changed the world. So it might all start as in, small individual change, but eventually it can end up changing the world. But is veganism doing this? Is veganism growing, and is it going to change everything? I'm gonna go over a bunch of stats here in a second to back this up, but as a quick point of what I usually point people to when they bring this point up is I like to point them towards plant milks. Because take a look 20, 30, 40 years ago at the non-dairy milk alternatives and the choices that they had. You know, it's basically like what, soy milk and rice milk maybe? I don't know, maybe another one, but at least not a lot commercially. Now you go to any grocer and what do you see? You'll see soy milk, rice milk, cashew milk, almond milk, hemp milk, pea milk, coconut milk, oat milk, flax milk, walnut milk, quinoa milk, banana milk, macadamia nut milk. I mean, in some of these stores, the non-dairy milk section is equal in size to the dairy milk section. So there is change happening, and why is that? It's certainly not because just one individual decided to go vegan. No, there are tons of people making this change. In fact, recent studies show that as many as 6% of US consumers now say that they are vegan, which is a 6 times or 500% increase compared to just the 1% in 2014. In Great Britain, a little over 1% of the population reports being vegan, and that was back in 2018. I think that number is higher now, which is a 4 times or a 300% increase from 2014. Another 2018 survey shows that nearly 40% of millennials identify as vegan now, and 2019 was dubbed the Year of the Vegan by The Economist, and they stated that that doesn't seem to have slowed down for 2020 so far. So the popularity of veganism and the vegan population is growing a lot and fast. In fact, look at this Google Trend data for the search term vegan. In recent years, it has shot way up and it has stayed there. And because people are making these changes, it's having a massive impact on our food industries. In 2018, the global vegan food market was calculated to be worth over $12 billion, and US sales of plant-based foods increased 11% from 2018 to 2019. And the global plant milk market was worth over $8 billion in 2016, but is expected to exceed $21 billion by 2024. This lines up with the previous example that I gave about plant milk options, and that doesn't just mean that there's an increase in vegan options, but also potentially a decrease in non-vegan options. In the US, consumption of non-dairy milk recently increased by 61%, while consumption of cow's milk decreased by 22%. And in 2019, Wisconsin lost a little over 800 dairy farms, which is largely due to trade wars and China slashing prices, but the declining interest certainly doesn't help. And part of the reason that the dairy industry even continues to survive is because of the billions of dollars of tax subsidies and bailouts that they receive, which as more people change and that interest continues to decline, those bailouts and tax subsidies will also go away. The global vegan meat market is also growing, and it's estimated to reach $7.5 billion by 2025, largely led by companies like Beyond Meat, which Beyond Meat, when its stock went public, was the best performing public offering by a major US company in almost 2 decades. Between 2017 and 2019, the US plant-based food industry grew by 40%, and the global value is estimated to be at $27.9 billion by 2025. In fact, another report said that the plant-based food market would be worth $74.2 billion by 2027. And there's other markers that point to change too, like the recent surge of tofu sales during the coronavirus. Canada put out new food guidelines which are much more plant-based forward, and Chinese government put out new regulations recently that were to decrease meat consumption in half. And specific vegan chains are also seeing expansion and growth, like companies like Veggie Grill, Plant Power Fast Food, Monty's Good Burger. I mean, the owner of Plant Power Fast Food told Forbes that their new San Diego location has experienced a 63% surge of growth. And services like Uber Eats and Grubhub have had vegan and vegetarian as top search terms over the past few years. And this change in growth isn't just happening for vegan companies. A bunch of large chains are also starting to add vegan options to their menu, which is causing more change. This is a bunch of companies across the world like Subway, Dunkin' Donuts, Taco Bell, Chipotle, KFC, Starbucks, Burger King, Domino's, Pizza Hut, and many, many more. And another interesting thing is that this growth and change that's happening isn't all being driven from vegan manufacturers. Tyson, which is America's largest meat producer, has now started investing into vegan products. Actually, they've been investing in vegan products for years, including investing into Beyond Meat in the beginning. And others are too, like Cargill and Hormel. In fact, I saw one report that said 80% of the top meat producers in the world are now investing into vegan options. And they wouldn't be doing this if there wasn't any change happening and if the vegan movement wasn't growing. And at the same time, this change has become so encroaching and a threat that some animal product companies and organizations have started to sue plant-based companies to try to hinder them for stupid things like using the words milk or butter on their products, like the recent lawsuit against plant-based company Miyoko's, which Miyoko's won, by the way. And also a reminder that veganism isn't just food, it's not just a diet, it's about all cruelty to animals, and that includes a lot of different industries. So are we seeing any changes to those industries as well? Well, according to recent research, vegan fashion is also on the way up. The vegan leather industry is anticipated to hit $85 billion by 2025. The global vegan cosmetics market is projected to reach $20.8 billion by 2025. And the global vegan women's fashion market in total was sized and valued at almost $400 billion in 2019 and is expected to grow 13.6% more from 2020 to 2027. Non-vegan entertainment is losing interest and shutting down, like the Ringling Brothers. SeaWorld has been having bad revenue years over the past few years, especially after the release of the documentary Blackfish. 27 countries have banned wild animal circus acts, and Canada has banned the captivity of whales, dolphins, and porpoises for entertainment. So why is all of this change happening? Well, because people are making changes and they're starting to eat more plant-based and they're going vegan. I mean, people are making these changes because they're coming so much more educated and aware of what's going on, especially with the spread of information with technology nowadays and all these new documentaries coming out all the time. I mean, in fact, Game Changers, which is about plant-based eating, is the best-selling documentary of all time on iTunes. A vegan documentary is the best-selling documentary of all time on iTunes. So people are becoming more and more aware of all of the benefits of eating a plant-based diet and living a vegan lifestyle, like how it's better for the animals, how it's better for the planet, how it's better for other human beings, and potentially better for their health. I mean, veganism, I truly believe, is on the right side of history here. And it's because of that belief and the growth that I see in the movement that I really do believe that we will see a predominantly vegan world, probably sooner rather than later. And some people might not want to accept this, but it really does have to change. I mean, our current food model is not sustainable for our growing population. We already use 45% of our ice-free land and a third of our clean water supply for animal agriculture. And with a growing population, we just don't have an infinite amount of supply of these resources. There's no infinite amount of supply of land and clean water. So I'm sorry, but it will have to change. So if you're watching this video and you aren't vegan yet, you should start getting used to it and make the change for yourself now. There's no need to wait to go vegan and start making this positive impact. And it's never been easier than it has been right now with all this growth in the movement and all these new options continuously coming available to the market. And again, look at what your personal impact could be over the next few years. Over the next 3 years, you could save over 1 million gallons of water or not. You could save over hundreds of animal lives or not. I mean, there's no need to wait. You might as well make the change now, become a part of this growing movement that will eventually become the global norm. If you're vegan and you're watching this, hopefully it shines a little bit of light on your day and in your life. Because I know for me personally, over the past 3 years, there's definitely been a handful of times where I've just felt a little bit hopeless, especially when arguing with certain people or dealing with anti-vegan troll comments and stuff like that. It seems sometimes like the world's never gonna change, but in reality, that's not the case. There's a lot of growth in our movement, so just keep pressing on and do your part. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it, check out some more of my videos, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stop looking at what you can't do and start looking at what you can do. Thanks.